Schaefer?
Here.
And trustee Whitten? Here.
Item agenda number 2, any changes to the board agenda? I have none. Item number 3, scheduled public comment for agenda items only. We have 2. And the first one is
Hi guys. So headed into closed session. I can only assume when you guys go into closed session that you talk about the lawsuits with the families of the victims of the shooting. So I'm going to go off of that assumption, and I'm going to ask you, as someone who cares about those families, to please end this litigation and settle these lawsuits. It's hurting the families and inhibiting their ability to heal. And I care about them, and I want this to be behind them. And I think they're frustrated when they see other entities whose lawsuits have been settled and ours haven't. So I was reading with my children about Martin Luther King Jr. yesterday, and the message that we gleaned from that was just about courage and courageous leaders. And I'm looking to all of you to be courageous leaders and to do the right thing for these families, especially given what we learned in the Guidepost report. And I'm asking for these lawsuits that you're going into closed session to discuss to be settled and finalized so we can move forward with the important work that we have to do in the district. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mark?
We're looking for a more detailed description of each lawsuit that you read the numbers of and the nature of who and why those lawsuits are being brought against the school. You talk about them in terms of a number, but the Open Meetings Act is specifically for you to bring us up to speed as the public. So you just mentioned a number and then you go behind closed doors. I understand you can get your counsel behind closed doors, but there's still an obligation for transparency to the public, and each one of those deserves to maybe a summary that respects all the privacy details, but those should be discussed publicly before you make any decisions. And I couldn't agree more with Marissa that we need to settle these. Every case related to November 30th should be settled. There's no reason. Michigan State has done that. University has done that. There's no reason you can't do that also. And if you leave it up to your attorneys, they're going to draw this out as long as they can, because when we look at your financials and the numbers that you're spending on a monthly basis, it's sick. You're wasting our finances trying to defend 2 people on this board, 2 illegitimate board members, Heather and Mary, who were clearly acknowledged and addressed in the $3 million investigation that you ordered, and you're not even looking at that report. So I was looking at the bylaws today of the board, and you absolutely have the right as board members to remove these 2. How can they sit and give any or take any legal counsel and waste our district's money defending their actions when we already have the investigation report? So I feel it's incumbent upon each of the other board members to make a motion and use the authority that you have to remove Mary Hanser and Heather Schaefer from this board and stop the division that's happening in this community. It's gone on far enough, and you have the power in your hands to stop it today. They should not even attend that meeting. So we look forward to hearing your votes, and hopefully it's unanimous. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be, to remove them today. You could do it right now.
Thank you.
Well, I was hoping you'd actually do something.
All right, item number 4 is the consent agenda. We have the minutes for the January 9th organizational meeting and the closed session meeting, and I will take a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Can I get support? Heather? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 5, Board of Education matters. We need a motion to go into closed session, if someone would like to read that motion. Heather?
Move to meet in closed session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Section 8E, to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, case numbers 231492, 231484, 231490, 231483, 231563, 231493, 231560, 231489, 231565, 231491, 231564, 231487, 231561, 231496, and 366192, and 365425.
Do I have a support? Mike? Any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please, James.
Yep, trustee Whitney?
Here, or yes.
Trustee Schultz, absent. Treasurer Hanser?
Yes.
Secretary Summers, yes. Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice President McDonough?
Yes.
And President Reese.
Yes. It's 4:37. We'll be back. All right, it is 5:29, and we are returning from closed session, where we will now be taking a motion. Amanda?
Move to approve the filing of insurance coverage litigation.
Do I have a support? Mike? Any discussion? James, roll call vote?
President Dr. Reese?
Yes.
Vice President McDonough?
Yes.
Secretary Summers, yes. Treasury Hanser?
Yes.
Trustee Whitney?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
And Trustee Schultz.
Motion carries. I'll make a brief statement about that, and then we will move on to the next agenda item. Tonight, the Oxford Community Schools Board has authorized the filing of a lawsuit against its insurer, SETSEG, in hopes of resolving a disagreement regarding how the district's insurance policy applies to the pending lawsuits against the district related to the tragic November 30th, 2021 shooting at Oxford High School. Though the district continues to avail its legal defenses in the underlying suits, our thoughts remain with our families of the students, our staff affected with the horrific events that occurred that day, and we hope that resolving this matter will also enable the district to resolve the lawsuits in the near future, allowing the community to continue the process of healing and taking our next steps. Unscheduled comment? Andrea?
So we're at the, over 2-year mark, and the toll this has taken on the community, the families, the students, the teachers, everyone is so unhealthy. It's hard to believe we're at this stage. I think what Buck had to say at the last meeting regarding, settlement with MSU and how that situation was handled is a glaring indictment of what's gone on here and the damage that continues to be added to everyone in the community with all of these lawsuits being drug out and the district just not doing the right thing. I do want to speak a little bit about, these kids. I watched them come and they argued for a memorial, and they were told over and over again that the victims' faces, their names, all of that would just be too triggering. But yet we continue to see administrators, when it benefits their narrative, to use the victims' names. for different social media posts, for other things. I think that needs to stop. I don't know that anybody asked these families if it's okay for administrators to be using their children's names, and I find that in just incredibly poor taste to do that, and I think a lot of other people do as well. You know, we're watching these kids come up here, and there's TikToks and everything else, and there's a lot of eyes on this community, and it's, the optics are not good. And now we have an additional lawsuit regarding a video of high school girls undressing. I'm not saying, I'm not passing judgment on anybody. I'm not the judge, jury, and executioner on that, but it is not good optics for this district with everything else going on. And I don't think that the response that we got really cleared that up. And that seems to be the trend that we have with everything. There's always this very vague email that follows everything, and it's been so much since this has happened. If we went back and we recounted everything that's happened, all of the threats, guns going off in the bathroom, lawsuits, false alarms, you name it, it's happened. You couldn't write this if you wanted to, all the craziness that's happened in the past 2 years. And it's out there, and it affects us. And so basically what I'm here to say is, let's just get this done. Let's give these families the accountability that they need. Let's be accountable. Let's teach our kids what right from wrong here. How long can we continue to drag this out? It's not healthy for us. It's not healthy for you. It certainly isn't healthy for our kids. What are we doing? What are we doing? We should be embarrassed every time we have to go into closed session and we have to read off all of those numbers. Those numbers are deaths and injuries. That's what those numbers represent.
Thank you, Andrea. Kristen?
You can disregard mine. I want to wait till Colleen's here.
Okay.
Maybe your next meeting.
I don't know.
I'll wait.
Okay. Any administrative clarification?
He put a card in.
Oh, good.
After we started?
Just let it go. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you to the rest of the board for taking action against the insurance company. I think that's really smart, and it is a glimmer of hope for us in this community. Now I would encourage you to go to the next step and use the information that you have in the $3 million report and make a motion to immediately remove Mary Hanser and Heather Schaefer, as they were directly named for their failures resulting in the tragedy of November 30th because they didn't do their job. And they also voted to finance the $3 million to uncover the truth. I don't think they thought that their names would be in there. So I'd like to know, is this board going to use your authority that's in your bylaws to remove these members? And if not, why wouldn't you? Isn't it your responsibility to address the failures? We have 4 dead children. We're 2 years out, and you were all elected to manage this, to address this. And we're asking you, please, do that today and hold them accountable. It's your responsibility, and you have the authority to do it. Why that didn't happen earlier, I don't know. I think maybe they like the open checkbook of the district so they can use the attorneys to try and defend themselves and play all their political games. But if they didn't have enough self-respect on their own to resign, then it's time that we deal with it. And we're going to continue until this is resolved. We do not accept you. We don't want you here. And we're going to continue making that clear to you until you either resign or until this board comes to their right mind and unifies and understands that you're a part of the problem of why it happened. And the report you paid for clarifies that. And once they're gone, we should address all the other members who are named. Why you keep pushing an at-will employee, Wolf, Principal Wolf, who knew about the shooting and was warned ahead of time along with his assistant. those are just 2 out of like 12 people who knew about the shooting before it happened. That they didn't take action to intervene is sick, and this entire community is going to suffer a lifetime of sorrow because they didn't do their job. And we're just asking you to pretend like it was your children who were murdered that day. Because why wouldn't you do the right thing? You have the authority to do that. And Vicki, you know, you can protect them, but the truth is, Vicki shouldn't be telling her employers what to do. You should be telling her what to do. The fact that Vicki tells you to do anything is out of line. She works for you. You hire her. She doesn't hold the authority with our community. You do, and we're looking to your leadership to take action and continue taking action. And then the last thing is, what is the purpose of hiring Perkins Coie? If
Thank
you
you.
could just let us know what issues are being addressed on that, that would be helpful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Item agenda number 7, any administrative clarification?
There are none.
Any final board comments? All right, this meeting is adjourned.